had an interview yesterday as well. I'm like,
You are going to be great. This is Aloima Taufilo, who is Tuvalu's first emergency doctor, or emergency trainee, I should say, yes?
Emergency trainee.
And today you gave a pretty powerful talk about living on the front lines of climate change to your college colleagues. Could you tell us a little bit about what you told everyone?
Sure. So, I basically took everyone on a bumpy ride to Tuvalu, and then I was showing everyone my tradition, my custom, and the way of life that we Tuvaluans live on a daily basis. And these are the most important things that I want to deliver to the audience, because these are some of the things that are threatened by climate change, and even our very existence is threatened by climate change. And I just want to sort of let everyone know and have a feel of things that are really important to us that, we're struggling to keep, like simple things. And then the impact of climate change, on the physical environment and the mental health and, just our health. These are the things that I really want to point out, the struggles that we go through on a daily basis, knowing that, tomorrow there might be another Category 5 cyclone that's going to come and hit us.
So you talked about the intensifying frequency and intensity of cyclones, and you shared some personal kind of experiences of that. Could you tell me what it's been like?
Yes, so it was quite hard. So when this TC-PAM hit Tuvalu in 2015, we had to go around to the islands, those islands that are severely affected by this. And then what we found was, for example, the graveyards that we buried our loved ones in, the graves overturned, and then one of the people who died, one of them died two weeks before this cyclone, and so we found her casket and the body exposed in just a nearby house from where she was buried, and these are some of the things that are really traumatizing to everyone on the island, and even children, and this poses a serious health impact on our livelihood, and and then that that psychosocial effect that comes with it, that we and other other Nuians, because it happens in Nui, had to go around and pick these bones up, like the remains of our loved ones, and these are some of the things that are really affecting us directly.
It's already happening.
It is already happening, and it's real.
You're talking about some of the health impacts that you see in the health system as a result of climate change. What were they that you shared? Yeah,
so diarrhea, because of the contaminated food, contaminated water that we had, like after the cyclone. So we see patients coming in with diarrhea, even skin infections as well. And, of course, the mental impact that comes with it. And, these are some, and also the direct injuries. And sometimes we had deaths just because of these cyclones. And being from a very small population, one death or two deaths is really a big thing already for us, because basically we know each and every one, sort of, so we, one death from one island, someone on the other island would know who that person is or had a close, relation with that person. So, it's very hard. These are some of the things. And then at some point when, there's a warning that there's a cyclone that's about to hit in a few hours' time, we had to evacuate, being in this kind of flat land, we need to find places for our patients, to save them. And the highest point, or the highest safest place, is the 3-story building, which is the government building. And we had to transport our patients from the hospital into that safe place for us. And we never know, maybe, it's going to save them, or it's going to, we don't know whether the building's going to collapse or what. So some of the things that are really hard for us.
And you talked about some of the plans or mitigations that are being made by the government. What were some of those that you shared?
So a lot of things have been happening, and one of them is the vulnerability plans that are going on, and then we're also planting a lot of mangroves along the coastal area on the islands, and these with hopes that it will protect us when this kind of cyclones happen. And so I can't name all, but there are some things happening in Tuvalu. A lot of projects are going on surrounding this, climate action.
Ultimately, you said that these really hinge on migration, really, like ultimately
Yes.
that's the government's.
Yeah, and so that's one of the options that is available out there. So we've got, in New Zealand, we call it a pack system, where 75 people or 75 Tuvaluans can have a chance to migrate to New Zealand on a yearly basis. So that's one, and the other one is we've got an island that was bought many years back on Fiji, which is called Kiowa Island, and that's another option. But majority of Tuvaluans, and if you go around Tuvalu and ask them if they want to leave their island or not, majority of them would say that they want to stay where they belong. Tuvalu is a place that we grew up in. Why do we have to leave this place? It doesn't mean that we're small, or we're not that, how do you say it? It doesn't mean that we're small, that we need to give way to things that are happening around us. I mean, even though we're small, we're also human, and we need to keep our traditions, keep our everything intact. And I think migration would really, I don't know about the other Tuvaluans, but majority of us think that migration would sort of pose a danger to our traditions and our way of life, and things that we're used to when we're small.
What's the kind of public mood, or what do people understand of and think about climate change in Tuvalu?
Sorry.
What's the sort of public attitude towards climate change in Tuvalu, I suppose? Like, what do people think about it?
So, climate change, most of the Tuvaluans understand what climate change is, and because we would see marches and things like people advocating for climate action on the island. So people know what climate change is, and of course the impacts that we've been seeing, it's driving a lot of young people in Tuvalu to do something about climate action, and just be champions and advocate for it.
Aloima, you said you weren't scared this morning. You walked through the streets of Hobart with your colleagues. What was your message there?
I can get what?
You said you weren't scared this morning because you've walked with your colleagues this morning through Hobart. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. And so seeing how people are really into this climate action, and the passion that I saw in the eyes of my colleagues, and it really sort of inspires me, and because I'm already afraid of what the future lies for Tuvalu, but seeing the looks in my colleagues' eyes and the passion they have for this, and it sort of reassures me that I am not alone in this fight or in this walk for climate action, and it makes me less scared and hopeful for the future, that some things will be done, some ways, one way or the other, but it will be done. It will be done.
And the college declared a climate emergency just now. What does that mean to you and to Tuvalu?
Oh, it means a lot to me, to see that the college recognizes that, it is an emergency in itself, and so it means a lot to me, and I look forward to work with the college, and we the Tuvaluans, I look forward to work with anyone who advocate for climate action.
How do you remain hopeful as a Tuvaluan?
It's a tough question, but I would take one day at a time, and then we'll see how we go, but I will remain in my belief that we can do it. We can do it. We're all human beings having the same interest in life, and I am hopeful for the future. We can do this.
And when you finish your training in Fiji, you hope to go back to Tuvalu?
Yes, I am going back to Tuvalu, try and help my community, you know, build up emergency department and build up emergency and advocate for climate change and health.
Very good. All the best and thank you.